Welcome to this presentation on getting started in Pro. This presentation will cover logging on for the first time, creating further users of Pro, and registering learners. The slide deck will be available, plus a user guide. Firstly, a brief introduction to Pro. Pro is currently used by City and Guilds for endpoint assessments for apprentices. These include assessments similar to the external assessment for the Level 4 and Level 5 Health and Social Care and Children's Care qualifications, and as such it meets the requirements for their delivery. Pro is intuitive and easy to use and is a one-stop shop for external assessments. You will be using Pro to register your learners, and once registered, their details will be imported automatically onto Walled Garden, so you can upload your results from the internal assessments. You will use it to advise us when your learner is ready for their external assessment. Our events team will then assign an external assessor on Pro to your learner. Any documentary evidence for the external assessment can be uploaded into Pro for the assessor to mark or review. And once the assessment has taken place, the assessor will add their marks onto Pro, and once completed, the marks will be imported into Walled Garden to form part of the overall grade. We appreciate that Pro was originally built for the endpoint assessment for apprentices, and so the terminology is not totally generic. We have produced a glossary to explain what certain terms mean for these qualifications, and these can be seen on the next slide and will be available under the support materials in Pro. Essentially, a learner is an apprentice, the training centre is a provider, an external assessor is an EPA. The first thing you will need to do is log on to Pro. We will send details on how to do this to the primary contact we have for your centre. And this is the screen that shows you the log-on page when you access the Pro website. And when you log on, Pro opens on this dashboard screen. Once you have learners registered, the widgets and calendar will show you their progress. What the dashboard is showing will be described in more detail in another video. On the left-hand side is a menu list that directs you to the various tasks you will perform. When you first log on, you may want to check your profile, and if you are the primary contact, add other users. In the top right-hand corner of the dashboard, you will see your name with a drop-down arrow. From here, you can manage your own profile and those of the sub-users. To manage your own profile, select Edit Your Profile. The screen you see contains generic details and contact information. We do recommend that you add your e-signature. It will simplify screens you need to complete when processing your learners. Please note you cannot change your username even if you change your email address. The Security tab allows you to change your password if you wish. To create other users, select the Edit View Sub-Users from the drop-down and then select the orange Create New Provider User button. This will open a window where you can complete the user's details and contact information. The username should be that person's email address, and the email address does need to be unique. Toggle the Allow Login Methods to green, and once you press Save, an automatic email will be sent to the user with login details. If there are users already created that you need to edit, select the pencil icon. Registering learners. Any learners you have already registered using Walled Garden will be migrated over by City and Guilds ahead of you going live. To register new learners, select Apprentices from the menu. This will open a window where you can manage your learners. For those already registered, you can edit them by clicking on the pencil icon. The profile icon will show you where the learner is on their external assessment journey. There are two ways you can add learners, either one at a time or you can import a number of learners. We will look at adding individual learners first. There are 4 tabs to be completed and all mandatory fields are marked with an asterisk. The first tab collects information on the qualification the learner will be following and the date they started their training. The expected date ready for EPA is auto-calculated as the minimum duration the learner needs to be in training before they would be ready for the external assessment. This defaults to 6 months and can be changed as the learner progresses. The expected completion date is also auto-calculated by default in Pro, but is not a requirement for these qualifications. The on-program assessor is non-mandatory, but if you do choose to add one, then all the information requested needs to be provided. Please do not press Save Apprentice before proceeding to the next tab. If you do, Pro will simply highlight the information that is missing from those remaining tabs. The User tab is where the learner's main details and contact information are collected. The username should be the learner's email address. It cannot be changed once the learner is saved, even if they change their email address. The email address does need to be unique. It cannot be shared among learners. The telephone number can be the learner's personal number or that of the training centre, whichever is your preference. And again, do not save Apprentice before proceeding to the next tab. Third tab requests more mandatory details about the learner, including date of birth, ULN, registration type and gender. Again, do not press Save Apprentice. The final tab collects information about who the learner works for and where they work. This information completes the learner's profile and facilitates our events team when they are allocating an external assessor to the learner. The workplace mentor is non-mandatory, but if you do add one, then all the information requested needs to be provided. Finally, you can save Apprentice to save your learner. If you have omitted any of the mandatory fields, you will be prompted to complete those fields in Pro. If you have several learners to register, you may want to create a template to import them in bulk. To get a template, select the Import Apprentices button. This will take you to the bulk upload screen where you can see a Helpers button with a drop-down menu. Click on the down arrow to see example CSVs, select a Create Apprentice sample and download. The file contains examples that will show you the information that is needed to complete the file. You can delete this information to create a template. Not all of the fields are mandatory. Those that are required are listed on the next slide. All other fields are non-mandatory. However, if you add an on-program assessor or mentor, you will need to complete all the related fields, such as email and telephone number. Essentially, the template requires the qualification the learner is following and a number of pieces of information about that learner. When you have your file ready to upload, click on Choose a file in the bulk upload window and open it from the Explorer menu. Then upload it. When uploaded, the screen will confirm the number of learners to be imported in brackets. Click on Import and a window will open for you to confirm the import. Pro will then show you the number of learners imported in brackets. Unfortunately, you can get errors when creating a bulk upload, and some of these are quite common. Pro will highlight these to you in red so that they can be corrected. None of the learners will be imported until the errors are fixed or the incomplete learners are removed. This is what the fields with error in them will look like. They are highlighted in red, and the cause of the error can be seen by hovering over the field. Email address is a particularly common source of error. To collect an error, the preferred method is to correct the CSV and then re-upload it. If there is only one error, you may want to correct it in Pro. You overwrite what is in the field with the correct information and the field turns yellow. You can then import the file again. It is possible to unselect the learners that contain errors and import the remainder. Beside each learner is a red tick. Simply untick the lines that contain errors and import the file again. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Should you have any questions, your first point of contact should be Centre Support, whose contact details are shown on this slide. Goodbye.